Hey, everybody, what's happening? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our weekly call here with Red Earth. We are in a series right now on teamwork. We're walking through John Maxwell's book, The Laws of Teamwork. This is something that John wanted us to do. And, this book itself has great principles in it, but it is a bit older. And so we're kind of adapting it to the real estate business and to your own lives. And I'm putting a little bit of, my own mojo in the mix to make sure that it stays fresh and hopefully isn't just regurgitated content. But nonetheless, it's important. And I think this concept of teamwork is challenging for real estate salespeople because we convince ourselves that, hey, I'm my own person, but we also need to understand that we are part of a team. That is the team at your own community, the team within Red Earth, and there are team goals, team mindsets that we have to always embrace. And part of the reason why you are where you are is because it's not general brokerage, right? Many of you had been in general brokerage or you know about general brokerage. And so you step away from general brokerage because you're looking for something like this, a team dynamic, which is why we're focusing on this. So today, we are in law number 6. We have talked about a lot of different things over this past 5 weeks, a lot of different laws. There's 12 more to go, I guess, so we've got plenty of them ahead of us. You can always go back and watch these on our YouTube channel. But today is the law of the catalyst, the law of the catalyst. Last week we talked about the law of the chain, meaning that a team is only as good as its weakest link. Today we're kind of the flip side of that, and the phrase that Maxwell uses is winning teams have players who make things happen. So that being said, we're going to jump into this idea of the law of the catalyst. What does it mean to be a catalyst? Are you a catalyst? How do we highlight and focus on the catalysts? He uses Michael Jordan as his avatar to talk about. Most folks are familiar with Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, right? But it's also kind of an overused thing. However, I'm going to tap into it because Michael Jordan's from my hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina. So Jordan was born right here in Wilmington. He went to high school across town in Laney High School, and I have a little Jordan story that I want to share with you all. So many people know that Michael Jordan was actually cut from the high school basketball team. As a ninth grader, he did not make the varsity team. Didn't play varsity basketball until he was a 10th grader. And so a lot of times when you hear Michael Jordan talk or you look at his story, that was a great motivating factor for him. It was one of the catalyst moments in his life. He worked extra hard on his jump shot, on his ball handling and everything, and he also grew a little bit. So by the time he was in 10th grade, he was just starting to be a phenom. Now, my dad actually saw Jordan play when he was in high school. They talk about how captivating he was at every level, but certainly captivating even as a high school player also. But it's interesting because Jordan did not play when he got cut from the team, and that was the motivating factor for him. But I also was a basketball player. I grew up though as a baseball player. Didn't start playing basketball until I was probably in middle school because I started to grow a little bit. And I write about this in my book, and it was a fun story to kick off today. So when I was in middle school, an eighth grader to be exact, I wanted to try out for the basketball team. I was starting to play in gym with some of the other guys. I was kind of holding my own, and I was like, I'm going to give this basketball thing a shot. And I had a middle school PE coach who was also the basketball coach. I went up to him and said, Coach, I think I want to try out for the basketball team. And he told me, Matt, you will never play basketball in high school. You're a baseball player, so don't bother trying out. Now, it's kind of crazy because who says that, right? I mean, it was pretty harsh for an eighth grader to hear, but that's kind of what I took as. And I was just like, all right, well, I won't try out. So I didn't try out. Instead, I started playing a little recreational church ball or whatever. And I started to get really good. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I was asked by the JV basketball coach if I wanted to try out for the JV basketball team. And having that narrative in my head, oh, I'm a baseball player. That's what I told him. I'm a baseball player. He's like, no, I think you could be a great basketball player. So he invited me to come try out for the team. Well, not only did I make the JV team, I was a starter on the JV team. In the first couple of games, I ended up scoring like double-digit points and rebounds. I had a double-double. And the senior center on the varsity basketball team at the same time was let go from the team for some academic problems. So as a sophomore, I get called up to the varsity basketball team. It's the first year I've ever played school ball, and here I am on the varsity team. Well, the interesting piece of this, the very first game that I played as a varsity basketball player, my sophomore year, was at Laney High School in the Michael J. Jordan Gymnasium. And on the left-hand wall of that gym, when you're sitting at the scorer's table, is this massive, ceiling-high Air Jordan picture of Michael Jordan doing his thing. And it was pretty interesting because in that moment there was like a kindredness, right, with Michael Jordan. And I was like, yeah, Jordan got cut. I got told I couldn't play, but I put my mind to it, and here I am. I'm playing. It was a really, really powerful moment for me that gave me a lot of confidence and courage in my life moving forward, that I could do the things that I put my mind to, and I could set a goal in front of myself and work toward it. And it was a catalyst moment for me as well. Now, here's the really cool part of the story. About 4 years ago, I was going to take my sons to watch the Charlotte Hornets play basketball in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's about 3.5 hours from us. The Hornets are the basketball team. Michael Jordan is actually the owner. It was around Christmas time, so I took my boys, and one of their Christmas presents was going to be tickets to the Charlotte Hornets game. Well, I've got my sons outside of the stadium, outside of the arena there, and we find a guy who's selling, tickets kind of on the corner, and, we double checked and made sure they were kind of looked like legitimate tickets and all this stuff, and, it was told my boys it was for Christmas and all this stuff, and so we paid the guy, and we go into the arena, and my son is the first one in line, and he scans his ticket, and it says invalid. And they make him stand to the side, and all 6 tickets that we purchased were fake, phony tickets that had been reprinted on full-on ticket letterhead. I mean, they were they looked completely legit. And so we were kicked out of the arena just as the national anthem was playing. Well, my sons were just so upset. They were crying, and here we are out in front of the Charlotte Hornets arena. They're in Charlotte, and I'm on one knee, and I'm telling my sons, guys, listen, this is life sometimes. It's disappointing. People take advantage of you. And I was having this heart-to-heart with my sons. Hey, learn the lesson. Maybe that guy needed the money. We've got to forgive him. We've got to let it go. And I turned on my phone camera just to do a little video, and I just said, hey, boys, let's talk about what we learned today. And so I did this little video, and I posted it on the internet, and the video went viral to the point where later that day, I get a phone call from the general manager of the Charlotte Hornets, a gentleman named Buzz Peterson. And Buzz Peterson said, hey, Matt, Buzz Peterson, general manager of the Charlotte Hornets, I talked to Michael, and we want to have you back to a game. So here is the general manager of the Hornets talking to Michael Jordan, and the Ham family is going to be their guest at an upcoming game. And I said, hey, Buzz, do you mind if I send a copy of my book to you and to Michael? There's a little story in there about Michael. So to this day, I've not met Michael Jordan. I don't know if he ever read my book, but it's just really, really always just very special to me to think that that's how, kind of God orchestrated that whole story, from Michael getting cut from his varsity team, to me being told I couldn't play, to playing in his gym, to trying to take my sons, to actually being his guest at a Hornets game. And we got to sit down in the lower level, and we saw Michael from a distance, but I did get to send him a copy of my book. So I share all that just as a fun story to say that these catalyst moments in our lives matter. They mattered for a guy like Michael Jordan. They matter for me. You all have catalyst moments in your life. But moving into this law of teamwork idea is we need catalysts on our team. We need people who get things done. And truthfully, we have to become catalysts. That's the ultimate goal. On a team, we need to become the catalysts. Just like Michael Jordan was when he played for the Bulls, there was an X factor that he had that changed the game. And anybody, anywhere right now, if you're picking a guy to go into battle on the basketball court, they're going to tell you Michael Jordan is the guy that they want. And so John Maxwell lays out 3 kinds of players, 3 kinds of team members, and in this thing of being a catalyst. He says there are people who don't want the ball. These are not catalyst type people, right? They don't have the ability to come through. They're not really interested. They don't want the ball. When the game's on the line, they're just not interested. There's also people who want the ball but shouldn't have the ball. These are people who maybe think they're better than they are. They've got a little bit of bravado going on here. They think that they're the hero. They think that they're a catalyst, but they don't have a history of actually getting the job done. These are people who want the ball but shouldn't have it. Then there's also people who want the ball and should have it. These are the true catalysts. And so we have to ask ourselves the question, am I the person that runs away? I don't want the ball. Hey, it's tough crunch time. I know we need to sell this week, but I'm not your person. Or are there people who go, yeah, I got it, but they really don't because they just hype themselves up? Or are there people who are true catalysts? Those are the people who want the ball and they're the ones that should have it. That's the type of team player that we all need to become. We need to become catalysts. So one of the things Maxwell does as he walks through this, he gives 9 different characteristics of catalysts. So I would say this is an opportunity for you guys watching this to write down these characteristics. Ask yourself, am I this kind of person? If I am, this is a strength that you have that you can focus on. If you're not that kind of person, it maybe shows you somewhere that you can work, okay? So, number 1, catalyst players, catalyst team members are intuitive. You and I, we have to have an ability to sense and feel things around us. You know, one of the greatest skill sets of a salesperson to me is being able to read the client, being able to read the moment, having an intuition about what people's interests are, and starting to feel the energy in the room, being intuitive. Catalysts are intuitive people. They know when there's a moment that's happening where they can step in and do what they do well. You have to be intuitive. The second thing that you have to be as a catalyst is you have to be communicative. You have to be able to communicate well. You know, Jordan was very vocal on the basketball court. He called out kind of plays for his teams. He told his teammates where to go. He encouraged them. He was a hype guy. We have to be the same way. We have to be able to communicate well, being in our sales process, etc. But we also have to be able to explain things to clients, customers, coworkers. We have to be very communicative. The third thing he says is you have to be passionate. You have to be passionate. Passionate people are people who move the needle. Essentially, when you're in sales, sales is nothing more than the transference of passion. If you're passionate about a product or a home site or a specific neighborhood or community, you got so much passion about this and you talk about it with passion and excitement and enthusiasm, that is about 70 to 80% of the sale, in my opinion. The other side is the technical side, the closing side, the detail side. But if you're passionate about it, people can feel your passion. Catalyst people are passionate people. Number 4, talented. Talented. There's a lot of people who want to be catalyst people. They want to make things happen, but they're just not quite there. They don't have the talent. You know, this is the guy who wants to be a basketball player, but he's 5'2". You know, it's probably not going to happen. Or he wants to be a basketball player, but he doesn't have a jump shot. You know, so you have to learn where your talents line up. There is a catalyst place for you, but it's where your talents align. Sometimes people are trying to force the round peg into the square hole. Their talents don't necessarily align with where they are, the position they are on the team. And so that is not an opportunity or a moment for success. Number 5, catalyst people are creative. They come up with new ways to do things. They come up with creative ways to connect with their clients. If you're a catalyst salesperson, you are going to be creative in how you share and highlight and showcase these communities that you're a part of. You got to be creative. Number 6, they are initiating. They take initiative. They're not waiting on permission for somebody to tell them to go. They are already gone. Catalyst people take initiative. That's the give me the ball thing. And I would say when you guys step into your monthly sales goals as a team, you've got team members who go, hey, let's go. New month, let's go. What do we got to do this month? My role on the team is to get 1 sale this month or 2 sales this month. And they are on the forefront taking the initiative to get that done. There's others who are waiting around going, well, I don't really know what I have, and maybe somebody else could pick up my slack, and they're not taking that initiative. Catalyst people take initiative. Number 7, catalysts take responsibility. They take responsibility. They own it. right? Hey, I dropped the ball on that tour. I dropped the ball on that phone call. You know what? I'm taking responsibility. I'm going to take this responsibility on myself to make 10 phone calls today. They don't use blame as their primary vehicle. Oh well, this didn't happen or that didn't happen. They actually take responsibility. That's where you can tell. A catalyst person takes responsibility. A non-catalyst person is going to blame their circumstances. Number 8, a catalyst person is generous. They are interested in what they can give, not what they can get. Generosity is a huge marker, in my opinion, of someone who is living next level excellence. Because the opposite of generosity is this poverty mindset. The opposite of generosity is I'm clenching my fists and holding on for dear life of everything that's mine. The opposite of generosity is not someone who's unwilling to give. The opposite of generous is someone who is afraid. They're afraid they're not going to have enough. They're afraid that they're going to be without. They're afraid if they give it away, they'll never get it back. So a generous person is a fearless person. They don't live with fear about what they might lose. They move forward with what they have, and they pour that out and they give that to those around them. A catalyst person is a generous person. And last but not least, a catalyst person is influential. This means they're a leader. This means that the other team members look up to them. This means that they take influence over not only the team that they're on, but others on other teams. When you're going into a ball game, you know that a catalyst person is like, hey, we need to keep our eyes on that one. That person right there is influential. They're going to make the difference. And so when you step into this in your own day-to-day in your sales career, you got to ask yourself those 9 characteristics. How do I embrace them? Am I intuitive? Am I a good communicator? Am I passionate? Do I have the talent? Am I creative? Am I initiating things? Am I taking responsibility? Am I generous? Am I being influential? And the interesting thing about that last one is if you're doing the first 8, you're going to be influential. And so the law of the catalyst really just lets us focus on the fact that we need A players on our team. And if we want to be a earth-changing, world-changing, kind of trend-setting organization, then we need a team full of A players. And so ask yourself, am I the weak link in the chain or am I the catalyst? Which one do I want to be? What can I do to move from potentially being a weak link to being one who is a catalyst? And those are great practices and practical things that you guys can do to make your team better and yourself better and everyone else around you better as well. I was talking with some of the folks at the different communities this week, and I said, I know for most of these communities, your sales goal for the month is somewhere between 3 and 5 or 3 and 7, depending upon where you are. When you look at this, going back to the law of Mount Everest, when we set an organizational goal, we are going to climb Mount Everest. There's no alternative to that, right? We set out for a goal. We don't stop until we accomplish that goal. And that's the kind of mindset that you guys need to have heading into the month of May. We're close here toward the end of April. April's wrapping up. That means the first third of the year is going to be over with. January, February, March, April. The first third of the year is going to be over with. If you set out to have 30 sales this year, by the end of April, do a check. Do you have 10? Are you on pace for your goal? If not, that means you've got to circle the wagons, get back in, and start off fresh in the month of May. I told one of the managers, I was talking to them about one of these communities, and I said, the month of May, set the goal and put it in the crosshairs and let's move toward it and making sure that everyone on the team is a catalyst who wants to come together to make that goal possible. So little pump me up, little motivation for you guys today. Be a catalyst and change the environment around you. We'll look forward to being back next week, which is law number 7 in our laws of teamwork. So thank you all for jumping on today. You guys have a good one.